Hello, Cubs fans, and welcome to a brand new edition of Cubs on Tap. I am Ron Luce. We're coming back to you after a very long weekend off. I think all the Cubs on Tap members, including Juice, who's not with us tonight, have stories from the weekend, but we'll get to all that here in a moment. I am, once again, Ron Luce, joined by the cheese man himself, Mr. Joey Ricotta, and the Kentucky beauty himself, Mr. Tyler at Teddy Freddy 270 on Twitter. Gentlemen, first off, before we get into anything Cubs baseball, how are you two doing on this Monday night?
Sunburnt. Pissed off. Yadi Molina and Albert Pujols can retire immediately. You've done enough. You've basically hit your 700th home run by hitting a game-winning home run in tonight's game. So you can retire right now, Al Pujols. It's not Albert, according to Juice. We are sticking with that. Ron, it's been a while since we've been on the microphone after we did like 4 episodes in a row. Tyler, good to see your face. I'm glad the alligators in Florida didn't, rip off your hand like Chubbs and Happy Gilmore. So, other than that, doing good, Ron. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Last week was good. Like you said, I was a little nervous about, the alligators. But I'm good, man. I still got both hands, both feet. I got burnt too a little bit, but I'm good. Vacation was great. Weekend was fun. Could be better tonight, but overall, I'm all right.
I feel that. And gentlemen, we do have a lot to talk about because obviously we're going to get to the Cardinals game here in just a few minutes. So for everybody that has joined to hear the yelling and screaming, I promise you there's going to be plenty of yelling and screaming. So stick with us. We're going to have some good conversation first about the weekend that was, because again, like we said, we were all out and about all weekend. I know Joey was enjoying himself with some family time. Tyler, you were away with your lady as well. Juice was enjoying some family time as well this weekend. And, a couple of weddings. Juice had one. I had one as well. But sandwiched around a wedding, I got to go to 2 Cubs games this weekend. Was very excited about that. Had a great game on Friday, 8-7 final, just a back-and-forth affair with the Brew Crew. Of course, Saturday's game, the one I couldn't go to, Stroh just fucking shoves a gem, and it was just a big spit in my face, metaphorically. But they get the cool walk-off win, which is awesome. Got to hang out with the UK Cubs crew all weekend, which was a lot of fun as well, getting to meet Mike and Rachel in person. And then Sunday's game. And I think that's where we want to tune our attention, right? Because Friday and Saturday were cool and tough. They got W's, and we're good with W's. And I don't think we have to dive too deep into those because a lot of good shit happened. But Sunday, I think we can yell and scream a little bit about Sunday because Justin Steele, absolutely fucking shit pumps. Friend of the program, always friend of the program, the man. Oh, I may or may not have got his jersey too, in case you guys didn't see on Twitter. Again, you can't let me run around Wrigley with money. It's a bad idea. It's really bad. But good things nonetheless. He comes out, shoves for 6 innings. Things look great. And then they put the bullpen in, and the bullpen absolutely fucking pissed it away. And I know we were starting to talk a little bit in our pre-show meeting, but I took a page out of Juice's book and said, save it for the show. So I want to hear from you guys here about Sunday's game. Joey, you had immediately something to say about Justin Steele being pulled, so I'd like to let you start here before we get to Tyler. But dude, lay it on the line. Thoughts on Sunday's game here?
Yeah, I was driving back from Michigan. Like you said, little family vacation. It was nice to get out. We were out on a boat. We were hanging out with family and very close friends that feel like family. And you know what? We were out on a boat. We were fishing. I'm getting sunburnt, the whole 9 yards. I'm driving back from Michigan. And the Yinglings were flowing, by the way. Just thought I'd share that minor little detail. Yinglings were flowing. Hashtag crack 'em. But cool. Driving back from Michigan, I am listening to the game. Justin Steele is absolutely showing his balls of steel, throwing them out there on the table, gets through 6 innings. And mind you, the 5th and 6th inning, it's like a 9-pitch inning and a 7-pitch inning for the 5th and 6th. And he gets pulled. I think he only had 2 hits allowed, zero runs allowed at the time. For Mark Leiter Jr., who, now granted, Andrew McCutchen got thrown out by Yan Gomes at second base, cool, which diminished you love to see that. And it could have been a game-tying home run by Rowdy Tellez at the time. But instead, it was just a solo shot, which proved to not really matter. But Rowdy Tellez, and I just don't understand the matchups in that point. Steele is at 89 pitches. He's cruising. Quick pitch innings. He's flying through the 5th and the 6th inning. He's at 89. He threw 108 pitches the last time. I believe it was 108. Last time against the Brewers, the time that he faced them before. And I understand he could be on like a little bit of a pitch count here. He hasn't thrown a ton of innings. It's a lot of innings that he's thrown this season. He's a young pitcher. You want him for the future. I have an entire deep dive that I am nearly finished with. Promote that on tapsportsnet.com. Check that out tomorrow morning. Whatever.
Good plug.
We're getting better, Ron. But I will say, I did not like the decision. I'm not trying to bag on Ross, but when we can, we should. Or when we should, is how I feel. And in that situation, you felt comfortable enough with him to start the game and to at least throw 80-plus pitches, almost 90 pitches. He probably would have thrown like 95. He would have finished that inning regardless, that 6th inning. Why not see if he can go out there and get a few more outs, right? Get him up to that 100 pitch count. You can always work around pitch count limits and innings pitch limits by skipping starts, by throwing guys in between, by giving him an extra day of rest, that sort of thing, by giving like a Keegan Thompson type of 15-day IL stint and then bring him back for maybe a couple starts at the end of the year. There's so many different possibilities that you can do here with Justin Steele if you really have him on this pitch count limit or innings limit. That in that situation, he has been shoving so much since June 4th, really. It's not just the All-Star break. It's not just since the beginning of July. It's since June 4th. He's been absolutely killing it. And since John Lester has given him that advice through David Ross, pound that fastball low and in, which Lester was in attendance for that game, which I thought was really cool. I just don't get it, man. You got a left-handed pitcher or a left-handed hitter, power hitter in Rowdy Tellez. You're going to let him face Mark Leiter Jr., a righty, and then you got Brandon Hughes, a lefty, facing Keston Hiura, who's a power right-handed hitter who I know he's very boom or bust. He strikes out a lot. He's had a very up-and-down career, once really highly touted prospect. Mm-hmm. But the matchups did not make sense. The reasoning to take him out, I didn't hear it. Maybe you guys caught it. I just don't get it. So I want to hear your thoughts on all that.
Go ahead.
I'm glad you mentioned John Lester when you were talking about Justin Steele, because that's the first guy I think of when I think of who Justin Steele reminds me of. I get big game, big dick John Lester. That's the vibe I get when I think about Justin Steele. But yet he's pitched his ass off all season long to the point where, like, at the very very least, he's going to be at least the number 2 next year. But yeah, like we talked about before the show, David Ross has done this numerous times, and not just to Justin Steele, but to Justin Steele and Marcus Stroman, where, and maybe he is on a pitch count, I don't know, but like yesterday, for example, a little over 80 pitches. We're at the point in the season where we're 15 games back. We've won the series. Not that, winning series are cool and tough, but why not let him have that chance to get through that inning, to build the confidence, just to continue to build his confidence for next year. And I know earlier this year there was talks about, David Ross, you can't be so hard on David Ross because he's been put in this spot, and that's agreeable to an extent, but in situations like this, yeah, he should be under the microscope, because it's like, dude, come on, man. Like, this has been your guy all year long. He's been the number 1 starting pitcher. He's been our ace this year, all season long. Give him that chance to get out of that spot. But yeah, I want to say, what'd you say he pitched? What was it, like a little over 100 or 100? He had over 100 pitches. What was it, his last start or something like that?
No, I think it was the start against Milwaukee. The 3 starts before this start, he was like that over 90, like mid 90 range. I think he got to like 96 maybe. But
like the only thing I could think of is, he maybe they have some type of agreement as far as a pitch count, a pitch innings limit. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of because, man, like you hate to see it. Hate to see it. But yeah,
Yeah.
he pitched his ass off yesterday.
He sure did, and I love what you both had to say about it, and I've got some numbers to back that up because I completely agree with where you guys are going. First off, I agree. I think he should have gone out for the 7th. He looked really good. I actually, admittedly, splurged a little bit on a ticket for Sunday's game. Got to sit really low, so really got to appreciate Steele pitching.
Oh yeah, I
more
saw
so
that. Yeah, you were
than usual.
You were behind the home dugout, wasn't you?
Yeah, we were about 10, 11 rows up. It was pretty cool.
Nice.
I'm not going to lie. Actually, first time ever sitting there, too. So thoroughly enjoyed it. Would absolutely.
You were close to Lester.
Yeah, he was somewhere over there. Yeah, kind of, sort of. I was a little further down the line, but probably in the same area. But no, it was awesome getting to see kind of that Bulldog mentality. I enjoyed it because you got to see some of the facial expressions that you don't necessarily get to always see on TV, like in between pitches and shit. And like you can see him talking to himself and like, what the fuck was that? And like all that kind of stuff. Like it was really fun.
Awesome.
But early in the first, he was a little all over the place, but settled in. I mean, fuck, he still struck out the side. And granted, it took him 15 pitches to do it, but he still got through it. And then he settled. Like he just got better and better as the start went on. It felt like. I mean. I got the line here in front of me too for everybody that wasn't certain. 6 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 9 Ks. He now lowers his season ERA to 3.25, and that is by far the best amongst the starting staff. I don't even have to look that up because I know it's the best amongst the starting staff. And on top of it, to support your claim, Tyler, and I like this, and I would not be mad if Mr. Brian clips that what you had to say here and can even clip this together with my follow-up here. I agree with you. I think Justin Steele has been an ace of the Chicago Cubs this year because here's why. Drew Smyly and Marcus Stroman and Keegan Thompson have all made 17 starts. That ties all 3 of them for second on the team in games started this season. Justin Steele has started 23 games this year. He has been the most healthy. He is a workhorse. Yeah. And also, he's pitched the most innings. 113.2 at his best on the team. Only one other pitcher on the staff has pitched over 100 innings, and that is actually Keegan Thompson with 104 1/3. Justin Steele has been the Chicago Cubs ace this season. He's been their best pitcher, and he's also been the only pitcher that's consistently gotten better by the start, in my opinion, as well.
He's the one guy that hasn't been on the IL this year, has he? Out of all the starters that started the season.
I think the only time he missed any time of even being with the team was because Baby Bo was born, and that's about it. I mean, that dude has not missed a start. He has been Mr. Consistent. He has been shoving. And, we're very, very, very proud that he is a friend of the program because if he continues to shove, I agree with you. I do get John Lester vibes when he's on the mound because he has that bulldog, I want to fucking shove it down your throat mentality. And it's so cool to see. So I love what you guys both had to say about that. I completely agree. Just quickly, because obviously I think we all want to bitch about Al Pujols here a little bit. So obviously, hey, Cubs still won the series. Not mad about it. Overall, played a really good game against Milwaukee. Just the bullpen kind of imploded late. The offense at least did enough to keep it interesting. Obviously, say I got a home run. But also, as Jeremiah says here in the comments, Mr. Happer got number 100. So that was pretty cool and tough to be in attendance for as well. You absolutely love to see that. So, yes, Cubs lose. They can't get the sweep, but that was, the 5th straight series win for the Cubs at that point. They're riding a nice streak here. They've been playing good baseball. But holy shit, boys, we need to talk about tonight's game because, on the positive sides, right? Smyly had a very good game. I agree with you, Mr. Jeremiah. But also, it quite possibly could have been the most boring game of the year because this thing was the epitome of a pitcher's duel. Jordan Montgomery, complete game shutout for the Cardinals. Obviously, Drew Smyly's line looked really good. 7 innings, only 1 earned run. 6 Ks, 2 walks, I believe was the final. Let me fact check myself here. Yeah, that is absolutely correct. 4 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 6 Ks in 7 innings of work. Newcomb looked really good in his 1 inning. Castro only walked 1 there in the top of the 9th, struck out another. So, overall, pitching staff, really fucking good tonight. You love to see it. Just Jordan Montgomery shoved, and Al fucking Pujols got lucky on apparently the ball as you heard on the broadcast, and this is where I think we need to open up the discussions, because they said this season only one ball was higher above what is deemed the center of the strike zone than that home run that Pujols hit tonight. Because that bitch was like at his chest. I mean, it was high. It was a high fastball. Like, not even like high strike. That was a high ball by far.
Just add to his Hall of Fame resume. Why don't you, Ron? Thank you.
No, but here's why. Because the only one that was further that was higher was the fucking cheap home run that Frank Schwindel gave up earlier this season. Not by much. You cannot sit here and tell me that 43-year-old Al Pujols has magically found a way to forget about the last 3 years of baseball where he was fucking abysmal and be good because he's back in St. Louis again. And I know we've got theories, and we're not accusing anybody of anything, but you better fucking believe it, Cubs on Tap listeners. We have theories, and we're going to air some of them out now. Send this dude to the fucking sun. You see it in the nameplate here on the live broadcast. I'm so goddamn done with Al Pujols. I'm tired of being tortured. I'm fucking tired of it as a Chicago Cubs fan. It's bad enough we had to see Yadi Molina. I wish he was still with the whatever fucking excuse he had to leave the Cardinals, because I would have loved to not seen him at Wrigley Field for this entire week. That would have been the greatest gift the St. Louis Cardinals could have given me, was just keep Yadi Molina out of Chicago. You know what they could have also done? Never brought back Al Pujols. You know what you should have done? Let him sign a one-day contract to retire a Cardinal and end it. Not this bullshit farewell tour. Because why is he good? He shouldn't be fucking good. He's 43 years old. He's been absolute piss for the last 3 years. I mean, the fucking Angels begged somebody to get rid of him for him. And then he ended up with the Dodgers. And even the Dodgers were like, dude, we don't know what to do with you. You're just going to ride the bench and have a good time. And then he goes back to that shit-stained armpit of America's city that is St. Louis, Missouri, and magically finds the fountain of youth. Like, you cannot sit here and tell me that St. Louis-style pizza and that dog shit that they serve their fucking citizens is what's, like, projecting Al Pujols into this ageless wonder at 43 years old. I'm 27 and wake up with back pain. There's no fucking way in hell that Al Pujols is doing this all by himself. And this is where I want to open the floor to you, gentlemen, because, again, we have theories. And I think these theories need to be aired out. And Tyler, I know you got not just theories, but cold, hard facts to support those theories. The floor is yours, my guy.
Well, Ron, to kind of bounce off what you said, Albert Pujols could, I'm not saying it, but could possibly be on PEDs, like you said.
Maybe.
Here's the thing. Last week, there was a popular player in baseball named Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm sure you may have heard of him.
Yeah, maybe.
Tested positive for an illegal steroid. Tatis is from the Dominican Republic. There's a very interesting article from the San Diego Union Tribune. Since the joint drug treatment program, 57% of the players that have tested positive for PEDs have been from the Dominican Republic. Fun fact: Albert Pujols is from the Dominican Republic. Albert Pujols is 43 years old. Albert Pujols is crushing the baseball right now. Albert Pujols hit a ball today that was 2 feet out of the strike zone. PEDs all season long, we've made fun of Albert Pujols basically being out of breath anytime he's done anything. PEDs can cause your heart rate to go up. PEDs can cause you to lose your breath. Albert Pujols also filed for a divorce at the beginning of this year. Anytime most guys witness or go through a tough breakup, the first thing you do is hit the gym. I mean, I'm not saying it. I'm not saying it at all. But could Albert Pujols be the ringleader of all the Dominican Republic players getting involved in the PED like scandals and the I'm not saying that. I'm not accusing anybody. And here's the thing, this wouldn't be the first time. This would not be the first time a big name player for the St. Louis Cardinals tested positive to PEDs. This also wouldn't be the first time that a player on the St. Louis Cardinals was cheating. Get this. Remember just a few years ago when the whole what was it, the spider tack and the spin rate and all that kind of stuff? Just like 2 years, maybe like a year or two just before that, there was a picture floating around of Yadier Molina with a ball stuck to his chest protector. And everyone was like, that's funny. That's baseball for you. That's just crazy how it does that. Wrong. Yadi Molina knew what was going on. Yadi Molina probably, I'm not going to say it, I'll just assume it, could have possibly been the first person to introduce pitchers to spider tack. So this isn't just like a common occurrence for the St. Louis Cardinals. This whole thing, it's all linked together. I think.
He's sticky tacked. I'm
not gonna like. I'm not pointing my finger. I'm not pointing my finger at anybody. I'm not pointing at you, Albert. I'm not pointing at you, Yachty. I'm not going to do that. But you guys could be cheating at your age. I don't blame you. You know, you got to do what you got to do to stay in the game. I mean, to be honest, if he is on PEDs, he needs to share with Yachty because, good God, you're batting .222 with 2 home runs. Like, you should be taking something. Good God. But, yeah, that's the only thing I could come up with as far as – but I'm not accusing nobody. Definitely not doing that.
No accusations here.
But, you know.
But we have suspicions, right? It's not accusations. Just we're not superstitious. We're, suspicious. We're just a little stitious here. And then, Joey, do you got anything to add to the electric argument that Tyler just presented?
I think that's a great case. There's a great case to be made for some potential, some suspicious activity going on there in St. Louis, or even in Chicago when they take it to St. Louis. So, Yadi Molina, the only thing he's good for these days is a hug after an Albert Pujols PED-driven home run. So that's about it. And I mean, I think there's some merit to your argument there, Tyler. Like, let's be honest. Who's testing the ageless wonder? Which, let's be honest, he looked very much his age coming into this season. And even the last 10 games, he's looked very much his age until this point. But who's testing him for steroids or PEDs at this point in his career? I don't think anybody really gives a damn. They're just like, Albert's done.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see him right out there on his high horse. Now they're like, Rob Manfred, do I put it past him? No, because the sticky stuff, they all knew that was going on. There's so many different things. The juice ball, the deadened balls, like Manfred doesn't care probably. Albert Pujols, it's the faces of your game. And then when you hear you got a cocky player like Tatis, like all the stuff that he's been doing behind the scenes that, according to the Padres, it seems like there's a lot more other issues, deeper issues there than just the PEDs, and they're willing to speak on it. So a likable guy, except when you're like looking at it from our perspective, he's not very likable because he kills the Cubs. Al Pujols, the league will probably not test him. So I think Tyler's onto something here.
And you would hate to see if something was to happen, he did test positive. You would hate to see that. You would hate that to be like the reason that St. Louis just crashes and burns.
You would hate to see that be the reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame, like Big Mac.
Hate to see it.
Yeah, and look at Dude, just to add to his little stupid little like Hall of Fame resume that we've been adding to this point outside of the PEDs, Jeremy Frank had a great tweet tonight, and I wanted to read that off because, good God, who would have expected this? It must be the PEDs. That's all I'm going to say. 567 batting average, 1,300 slugging, 7 home runs, 14 RBIs over his last 10 games. Only 3 other players in MLB history have matched all 4 of those marks in a 10-game span: Barry Bonds, Larry Walker, Willie Mays. Good job, Al. The PEDs are working.
And
Good
the thing
job,
is,
Al.
he's made so much money in his career, and I'm assuming he's probably friends with Alex Rodriguez. And if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. It's pretty good. It's they had it on Netflix. I think it's called, what was it, Juiced or Screwed or something like that, where it told the story of A-Rod and what he did to go through it all and all that kind of stuff. Basically, what A-Rod was taking, he would have been perfectly fine. More than likely, everything would have been fine as far as like he tested negative and everything like that, had it not been for the dude that didn't get paid or whatever. Anyways, Albert's he's probably talked to A-Rod, and maybe, I don't know. That's why I say probably. I don't want to make any assumption or, accuse anybody, but he's probably taking the same thing that he did. If it was me, if it was him, if I was him and I was doing that, that's what I would do. So
That's where you would go with it. Yeah.
I
get that.
Yeah.
Hey, you
Whatever.
never know.
You never know.
But son of a bitch, I'm tired of that dude killing the Cubs. I can't wait to send him off into retirement. I'm going to send him off into retirement like a rocket gets sent off into the atmosphere, and I might even put him on that rocket too, for all I give a fuck at this point, because I can't.
I know. He said, like, I know they asked him if he would come back next year, and I know he said no, but like, in all seriousness, if he's at like, if he's at 699,
oh God,
does he come back next year?
God, I hope not. Just let him.
I'm
just
not
let him hit
doing
the
the show
700
anymore if he does.
Just like let him hit the 700th this year and let him ride into the sunset. Like, just I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to.
The only other thing I could think of is maybe he's paying off all the starters he's facing.
Hey, dude, throw a cookie.
He didn't
down
even
the
get a
middle of
good
the
pitch tonight. Did he just
No,
tell
That
Smiley?
is true.
Hey,
He got it. That was, yeah. I don't know.
did he tell Smiley, hey, just throw that shit way up there? Let me see if I can tomahawk this bitch.
And one more thing about Pujols. What kind of about Pujols, but the Cardinals fans, what about the single he hit, like, was it the second inning, and the Cardinals fans in the stadium like stood up and gave him a standing ovation for a single? Did y'all see that? Like they showed them all just like, oh yay, congratulations! Like, okay, you got a single that should have been a double, probably. I don't know. It kind of bounced right back to half, but still, it's like, good God, like you guys, give him a standing O just for making it to the batter's box. Good God.
He's old, man. You gotta applaud him.
Yeah.
I'm gonna insert the old little the little SpongeBob meme here, and they're the best fans in baseball.
Oh,
fucking losers! I'm tired of them. I can't stand them. I'm so.
It's devil's magic.
One thing that was cool and tough was that maybe a little bit of the Cubs on tap magic wore off on the Cubs tonight, just a smidge. In the sense that Christopher Morel was the single reason that Jordan Montgomery did not throw a perfect game tonight, with his lone hit in the game for the Cubs is double that he ultimately got to third base on because of the defensive screw up by Paul DeYoung on the relay throw from left field. Got to meet Christopher Morel today. That was kind of cool.
You touched his hand.
I did.
You touched his hand.
That hand was on the bat.
That hand got a hit.
Hey, vibes are good. He had the whole Cubs community behind him today too, because people were there. They were ready to see some Christopher Morel. So hey, you know what? We love Christopher Morel for that reason. So now Jordan Montgomery can't be in the record books all time for throwing a perfect game against the Cubs. Instead,
thanks to Ron Luce.
He threw a one hitter. So yeah. Talk about a deadline acquisition they should have never fucking got, but the fucking Yankees are stupid and trade good pitchers away.
That was dumb.
They traded Cubs killer Harrison Bader for Now, Cubs killer Jordan Montgomery. And
Yeah, he shoved as a Yankee against the Cubs earlier this season too.
Yeah, he did.
I just don't understand why you would make that deal for a controllable pitcher. They have like the same years of control, I guess.
I'm convinced the St. Louis Brass has like blackmail on every executive in baseball and just can like twist their arm and be like, we really want to get rid of Harrison Bader, but we really want Jordan Montgomery. Do you want like at best a defensive replacement for like a guy who's
such a random move too?
They were so pissed at Aaron Hicks that they made that move. That's what happened.
Yeah.
They were so pissed at Aaron Hicks that they were made that move.
He's defensively awful, isn't he?
He used to be good. Like
he's got a cannon.
I think he had injury, and like his arm actually isn't as good as it used to be too. I was because I don't watch all their games either, but he used to throw like 100 miles per hour from the field. He used absolute fucking rope, like you said, but. I don't know, man. It's just a weird trade. When you're in contention, you think you need all the starting pitching that you can get. Like you're gonna trade for a Harrison Bader. Like, can he treat every team like he's the Cubs? Then maybe it's a good trade.
Have y'all seen him cleaned up now? It looks so
I don't want to.
It's so weird.
How ridiculous does it look?
It looks so weird.
You don't have to go look that up now.
Yeah.
That might just be the one thing I need to smile tonight is knowing that he had to cut his flow. Because he's a fucking Yankee.
So stupid now.
I mean,
he already looks stupid. Now he looks stupider.
I'm gonna take a shot at the Yankees while we take shots at the Cardinals. I think that's the stupidest fucking rule in sports.
Yep.
It's not the 1920s anymore.
So dumb.
Let fucking men grow a fucking beard for fuck's sake.
So dumb.
Like if I was an MLB player, I would purposely put in my contract that you cannot trade me to the Yankees unless they get rid of that rule. Yeah. Why am I gonna shave my fucking beard? Fuck you. I don't need to play for you. But
Ron, do you want a free ALCS appearance in the next 3 years? Then you might
and then to have trash thrown at me by their trash fans. No, thank you. Fuck that city. I hate New York. New York Yankees fans can go suck a big one. I hate all of them. They don't deserve good things. They really don't.
All my friends that are Yankees fans are listening to this or watching this, and they probably want to kill you, Ron. And
all it ever was. 27 rings. What about our 27 rings?
The New York Yankees are the Montreal Canadian fans of baseball. We have 27 Stanley Cups. Yeah, and you won 90% of them when the league had like 12 teams. Shut the fuck up. No. I don't care.
I'll be honest, like St. Louis Cardinals fans aren't at that point yet, but they're getting there.
Yeah, they're getting there. Slowly but surely. Slowly but surely. But yeah, just two garbage organizations.
Just makes me
making
sick,
our lives more miserable.
Yes.
When they trade together, it's like just
and like
it's just too boring, and they're boring too. It's it's like both those clubhouses don't know how to have fun.
Anthony Rizzo never
look at him.
The way
Poor
he
guy.
did in New
Looks
York.
So sad. He told a player today to shut the fuck up. More than likely because he was upset that he was in New York.
I would be upset if I was playing there too, because I'm pretty sure with it being the summertime in New York, if even in the stadium on the field at first base, you can still smell the smell of the fucking trash they leave in the streets from inside the ballpark. No. Get the fuck out of here! No, thank you. We don't like St. Louis. We don't like New York. Fuck the Yankees. Fuck the Cardinals. You know the drill.
Ron, I'm feeling more sun. I'm already sunburnt. I'm feeling more sun. I feel like you just sent Al Pujols to the sun. You sent the New York Yankees to the sun. You sent Yadi Molina to the sun. You're sending an entire state of New York to the sun right now, and it's feeling so close to my skin that I'm getting more sunburn.
Yeah, just not Buffalo, New York, though. I like Buffalo. They can stay. But the entire New York metropolitan area, if you're a Yankees fan, you can – I know a couple of okay Yankees fans that are semi-nice. They can stay. But the rest of them that are just the trash bags that they leave in the streets of New York, that, like, if you put them next to each other on, like, a weight scale, they'd be the exact same. You can send them to the sun happily because those guys can go fuck themselves. But nonetheless –
Wait, Ron. Since we are bashing New York so much tonight, can we do Bostonian accents again?
Oh, I could do a New Yorker accent and tell them why the thin slice of pizza that you fold like a fucking piece of paper is the best. No, it's not. It's not that good. It's dripping in grease. I could smack somebody over the face with it and potentially knock them out because it's got so much flap to it. It's a load of horseshit.
An LCP, they usually, you know how they like if you ever worked in a restaurant, you like initial things, you put it on a card, a ticket, and you hang it up there for the cooks to make. They go and they make the pizza. So if you like label it LCP, you think that's a large cheese pepperoni, right? No, for them, like you said, Ron, you're smacking people in the face. That's actually symbolizes a lot of these people's face. They just have a lot of pimples on their face. That's a large cheese pepperoni. It's a large cheese pimple. So yeah, Ron, I agree with you.
Yeah, large cheese pimples indeed. Just again, send them to the moon, send them to the stars. You know what? Because it's the last planet or one of the last planets now that they got rid of Pluto as a planet technically, you can send them to Uranus. All right. That's where they should go. Because because if we're using the metaphor that Uranus, if we're talking of, because like a New Yorker would be like, hey, go shove it up Uranus. And I'd be like, oh, that's really original. At least if you go up there, it'll smell like your fucking trash ass streets do. God.
Did you call the Uber?
The Boston Harbor. That shit was fun. I'm not gonna lie.
That was fun.
I need a smile. I'm so like pissed off at New Yorkers in St. Louis because of Jordan Montgomery, Al Pujols, and Yadi Molina right now that I can't stand it, but I cannot absolutely wait to see how ridiculous Harrison Bader looks without a beard and long hair. So I'm looking forward to that, truthfully. But gentlemen, before we get into previewing tomorrow, doubleheader tomorrow, that's cool and tough. Joey, I know you'll be at the ballpark for the day game. I may or may not be at the ballpark as well for the day game tomorrow.
Oh, shit.
And then the night game, we get to hear Pat Foley, Blackhawks legendary broadcaster, call that one. Just as a reminder for anybody that wants to listen to him, like myself. Innings 1 through 3, he'll be on the radio. 4 through 6, he'll be in the Marquee Sports Network booth. 7 through 9, he'll finish back on the radio. So I'll probably be watching the game. I'll keep the volume up a little bit because I like to hear what Boog has to say. But when Pat's on radio, it's going to be playing in the background behind me. I can't wait. I'm so excited for that. But before we get to that, little preface, little bit of news quickly. A lot of shit going on in Cubs fandom, and it leads to a question that I think would be a fun way to wrap up the kind of today's part of the show. So first off, as we have seen, Albert Alzolay starting to throw rehab assignment. Tyler, you just wrote that article up tonight over at UntitledSportsNet.com. He's going to be down in the Arizona Complex League doing that for a little bit. We'll probably they expect him to pitch at the MLB level this season, so we'll probably see him quickly promote up the ranks here soon.
Hottovy sounded, I guess I would say confident that he really thinks it would be important if he did make an appearance before the end of the year.
Agreed.
He's like that would be a big step for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would imagine they'll give him the fast track because I think the ACL league ends in like a week too. Like it's coming to a screeching halt very, very soon. Yeah. In addition, Brennan Davis is heading to South Bend tomorrow. He'll probably be there just for one series because literally verbatim, they said their goal is to get him to AAA Iowa as quickly as possible. So I would expect one series in South Bend, which is, the course of, I think they play 6 games.
Juice has got to go.
They're on the road. I asked Juice about that. They are on the road. Yeah. And he'll probably be up in Iowa by the time that South Bend returns home. So, but Brennan Davis getting back to minor league baseball, that's really encouraging to see as well. In addition, we also learned that Kyle Hendrix is going to start rehabbing already in Arizona. He's done for the year. Probably the smart move. Again, you can read all this good stuff, or it's coming at OnTapSportsNet.com. But one that Joey wrote up earlier today, and again, it prompted a question here in the comments. I think it's a fun little question we can kick around here before previewing tomorrow's doubleheader. And that's what Alexander Canario is now going to AAA Iowa after just mashing his way through high A and double A this season. 31 home runs. That's second most in all of minor league baseball. Only ironically, of course, it's a fucking Cardinals prospect that has more. But we'll get to see him in AAA. He'll be up in Iowa now. He'll be doing that. Also worth noting, we'll probably keep an eye on this over the next few days. With Canario's spot in AA opening up, we'll probably see a promotion from high A ball. I know Greg Huss, hopefully future friend of the program. I think he said Jordan Wogu, who is a Cubs on Tap friend of the program, might be the first guy to get a call up to AA. So that would be pretty cool as well. So we'll certainly keep an eye on that without a doubt. But, gentlemen, and we'll start with Tyler, and then we'll go to Joey, and then I'll give my 2 cents. As Jeremiah says here in the comments, will we see Alexander Canario this season? And by where we see him, I mean, will we see him at the major league level? Tyler, your thoughts?
I thought one of the more interesting things about Joey's article was the dude's 20 for 23 on stolen bases.
Speedy
Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what it sounds like, he's going to end up being like a corner outfielder.
Yeah,
And
probably
he's
a left
smashing
fielder.
I don't know if we'll see him like in September. I mean, it'd be cool. Yeah, that the whole power speed combo. I mean, what's there not to be excited about with him?
Well said,
Yeah.
well said.
I agree. I mean, that's the thing that I think gets overlooked a lot, because when you look on Twitter, even if you just are scrolling down the timeline or you search his name, you see the big, massive power, right? You see the multi-homer games. You see, like me and Ron, we've talked about, he hits balls in places where the fans are still looking for the ball after he hits it and it's not landed yet. You haven't seen it land, and you probably will never see it land because the camera angle's cut off in the minor league level. So it's just kind of one of those things. But he's got the massive power, but the stolen base upside is there. He's got the wheels, and I think the numbers don't show that he's probably best in a quarter spot. But if you have a PCA coming through your system, a Brian Davis, a Kevin Alcantara, those guys seem to be better center fielders defensively. But to the question of will he be there this year or not, there's an outside chance, I think, because he is on the 40-man. So depending on what you're going to maneuver around, or somebody goes on the IL, or you could do a phantom IL stint, or just because of the expansions of the rosters, I could see him potentially being brought up. It's just there's a lot of spots now, even with Ortega on the roster. And I'm not saying don't call him up in favor of Ortega, but guys like Nelson Velasquez, Christopher Morel, those guys need spots to play. Morel could play infield, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to see him at this year, but I feel like he's got to see some advanced pitching, even at AAA, because those are the guys that have, in my opinion, a little bit better control. Yeah. I wouldn't say they have better stuff than the AA guys, but they just have better control and command. So see what he does at AAA, and if he still is looking like he's figured out the strikeout rate like he did at the AA level. I mean, 26% is not low, but it's lower than what he was doing at high A. So if he still has that figured out, I mean, fuck it, dude. We need that slugging. The Cubs need that slugging big time.
Yeah,
I just hope. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I hope they don't look at his power numbers and be like, "Hey, dude, we just want you to focus on that and not necessarily the stolen bases," because it sucks. You saw it with I hate to say his name, but you saw it with Christian Yelich. You saw it with. We're kind of seeing it now with Ronald Acuna. As far as 30, 40 guys, but then they get hurt or whatever, and they're like, we're paying you this much, or hey, you just got hurt, so how about you stop running the bases like you did last year or whatever. I hope they don't do it. Let him play his game if that's his game. Don't change, you hit 20 plus home runs this year, so let's focus on the home runs. So hopefully they don't do that. And you named off, like you just said, Joey, we've got you named off 4 outfielders that are coming up, and we're going to have several more. And at first, when you write them all down, you're like, oh shit, we're going to have so many outfielders, just 3 spots. But like we've seen at the beginning of this year, injuries have been a freaking, death note to us this year. So I'm not worried about, oh my gosh, we have 8 different outfielders that could possibly, who's going to, we had the same issue at the beginning of this year. So I'm not worried about that, because, too much is better than not enough anyways. And who's to say one of them doesn't pan out?
Right.
Well said. Yeah, I think, just overall with Canario, I'm actually very excited that he's getting the call to AAA. Obviously, he's earned it. Sure, maybe the average isn't where people would like it to be, but obviously the slugging alone is certainly worth him getting up and getting another look. I also like that it frees up a chance for one of the South Bend guys to potentially get a look at some more advanced pitching as well by moving up to AA. So I think just overall the transaction certainly helps the Cubs and the minor leagues and some of their depth. But I feel like I've done such a good job at this on the show that I'm just going to keep I'm going to be the pin that pricks the balloon here. No, we're not going to see him this year. And the reason we're not going to see him this year is because Jed Hoyer did not do what Billy Beane did with Carlos Pena and Moneyball and send him to the fucking sun with Rafael Ortega. As long as Ortega's on the roster, you will not see Alexander Canario this season. Instead, we will sit here and daydream about what it would look like watching Canario and Franmil Reyes go back-to-back, sending balls over the wall onto Waveland. No, instead, you're going to watch Rafael Ortega ground out with the bases loaded a few more times this year, folks. I'm just really in a salty mood. This is very rare. Like we got sour juice. Like I don't know. Like the loose is not loose. I don't know what this would be considered.
The loose is not loose.
Very salty tonight.
Hey, Ron, I got a question for you. And it's for you too, Tyler. Well, it's a two-part. Double banger here. So I know you're taught not to do this in the media if you're asking like press questions, but this is a podcast question. Yeah. We're a round table. We're not doing that. All right, first question. Do you get pissed off like I do and like people I know do when Rafael Ortega actually does well now? Like when he hits a home run, are you like, fuck, that's justification for the decision?
We're gonna see him again.
Yeah. Like, do you guys is that a thing? That's the first question. And then
no, because every blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes.
Yeah.
True.
That's true. I agree with what you guys. Joey, you or Juice said it like last week. Ortega's got to have something on Ross. Has to. Has to have something on Ross. Must have a picture. Caught him doing something. I don't know. He's got to have something on him. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it sucks because then it's like, oh my gosh, he had a home run even though he was over 55 before that. But now we're going to see him tomorrow we're going to have a runner on second with down by one and we're 2 outs in the ninth. Oh, let's get Ortega up. Yeah.
I think what happened was he banged Ortega's girlfriend or wife. I'm not sure which one. I don't know if he's married. And he feels like shit now about it. And that's
maybe he bought PEDs from Pujols. Ortega just happened to see the exchange. I don't know.
We are completely down. We're off the rails now completely. Let me go back to my second.
Blowing the roof off.
Second part of my question. I'm kidding completely about that, by the way. Second question, if they couldn't tell that. Second question was, who's first next season if Canario doesn't get the call this season, which I think he's more likely this season. We're not seeing Brennan Davis, but next season, opening day, or like whoever's first between Brennan Davis and Alexander Canario, because I feel like now they're on kind of similar timelines.
Tyler, go ahead.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Canario first, however you say his name, because I wouldn't be shocked if they played the whole. Wait a minute, is that rule still out with as far as like the guys? Is they don't have
time?
Yes,
I have no idea anymore.
If the service time rule.
They negated it a little bit. It's like different to the penalties aren't
changed
really,
a little bit, but I wouldn't be shocked to see them squeeze as much of that as they can to keep him in the minors as long as they can. Wouldn't shock me at all if they did that with Brennan Davis. So yeah, I'm going to go with Canario comes up first.
All right,
but I don't think he makes the opening day roster.
Ron?
I still think we see Brendan Davis first. I really do. And I think a reason for that might just be the K rate for Canario. I know he's worked on it and it's improved. And I'm not going to argue that. He has improved that K rate. It's come down substantially from what it was. But at the same time, I feel like Brendan Davis has been around the system just much longer, and they've groomed him more, and they kind of know what they're getting with him. And I think because he has been that marquee prospect for the Cubs for so long, they want to give him the shot first, and kind of get an idea of where he's going to fit. I mean, to be completely truthful, depending on what the Cubs do in the offseason, I wouldn't be shocked if we saw them both at the same time. To be completely ideal. Like, I wouldn't be terribly shocked. I think Canario's this year definitely makes that question a harder question to answer, because even as recent as not even a month ago, maybe a couple weeks ago, I probably still would have confidently said Davis. But now it certainly throws a wrench in, but I do still think Davis still has a slight edge. I'm really intrigued to see what he does now with South Bend and then subsequently with AAA Iowa the rest of the season, and if he at least hits semi well, because admittedly, if you look at his numbers in a vacuum this year, they're not good. But in fairness, he's only played like 27 total baseball games this year. Yeah. So small sample size, kind of hard to know what you're doing.
And he was hurting before I think he even went on IL.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where like you don't even know if he was going to like turn it around or get hot or whatever. So I'm still going to say Davis, because I think he's so much more of a known commodity for the Cubs because he's just been in their system for so long. And again, especially coming into spring training, like the first game we saw him and he went from like scrawny Brendan Davis to like grown man Brendan Davis. Yeah. Like I think we still see him first, but I don't think it's going to be by long. I really
and he did it the right way. He did it the right way.
Unlike somebody,
no PEDs.
Not going to say who.
Like unlike Uncle Al Pujols.
Yeah, but like you said though, I think a lot of it does depend on what we do in the offseason, because there's been so many speculations and rumors about what could happen with, like, signing a shortstop. And if we sign a shortstop, where does Nico go? Does he go to second? Or does he go to the outfield? Because there was talks about him playing center at the beginning of the year, like last offseason, as far as learning the position. Could we sign Aaron Judge? I don't know. I doubt it. But, it all depends on if we decide to spend more money this offseason and who we get and all that kind of stuff.
I'll tell you what, I know we're going to talk about this a lot, and we want to get to tomorrow's preview and all of that. We're going to talk about this a lot as we move forward here. But there's a guy, as we keep talking here, I keep thinking about it too. The only outfielder that I would really want to see, I would love to see Aaron Judge. I just don't think it's going to happen. Another right-handed hitter. He's a slugger. I mean, you could make all kinds of moves to get him in place and not worry about the rest. Mm-hmm. But I think Franmil Reyes could come back next year. I
hope he does.
Yeah, so I would love to see that in place. You got Nelly V out there who still has a lot of power. You look at his barrel rate metrics, his hard hit rate. Like, that guy, he's going to hit bombs. Like, he's going to hit bombs. That's what he's going to do at least. Mm-hmm. There's two slugging guys right there, right? From the right side of the plate. You've got Morel. I'm just trying to figure out this roster here. I think a left-handed hitting outfielder, kind of like Ian Happ, but with less power maybe than Happ. I don't know if the stats really show a lot that he has like less this season, but like a very strong on-base guy could probably lead off for this team. Brandon Nimmo would make a ton of sense next season in center field. And then you make like I don't think that's going to cost you too much, maybe like $12 million. I'm hoping against the cap, or against not the cap, but the luxury tax. Right, whatever. AAV wise, I don't know. That's what Spotrac, I think, don't quote me on that. I think they had him at like 12 million AAV. You have him in there. You get a big fucking shortstop signing, second base, third base, wherever you want to move them. I don't care where they play. One big infielder signing, one big starting pitching signing, and a Brandon Nimmo type deal at like $12 million a year or whatever. Which would not be that huge. This team's rolling, man. Like this team is set up to go next year. And I don't even know. I'm not saying World Series, but they're set up to do damage next year. And I don't know. I feel like Brandon Nimmo, there was very much a lot of depth in the outfield, like coming through the system. But like you said, Tyler, you can't bank on them. You can't just sit here and say, hey, when they come up, they're going to be stars, because we've seen it with Velasquez. We've seen it with Morel and his adjustments as he's had to make. We've seen it with Seiya Suzuki and the adjustments he's had to make, even as a veteran from Japan. Like, I know it's a different culture and everything, but these guys come up here.
It's
not
the old
guaranteed.
saying. It's just like the old saying goes: a prospect is just a prospect until they're not.
Yep, exactly right. So I think that's why I would like them to make 2 big splashes and 1 very, very above average splash, if you know
This
what I mean.
offseason is going to be fun to talk about. There's so many possibilities. There
One
is.
final thought on that point, Joey, here about this team being ready to roll. The Cubs are kind of shaping up in a way that if they have a similar offseason to what this team did, I think they could roll in a similar manner, and that is the Seattle Mariners. I think that's a team that you're seeing where they had a lot of kids come up. Julio Rodriguez came up and's been hot. Ty Francis had a big year. Robbie Ray was their big pitching signing. Like, kind of in that same ballpark of a team that was like, people thought we're going to be better this year, but I think they've surprised a lot of people.
Yeah. And then look at the guys. Look at, like we're talking. That's a perfect example, Ron. Perfect fucking example. Look at Jared Kelnick. He keeps coming up and keeps getting sent down. Keeps coming up and keeps getting sent down. They've got guys who are coming up and producing, and then guys that come up and don't.
Look at their rookie of the year in 2020 with Kyle Lewis. He's not even playing.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Isn't he back now? No, he's not back now.
He's in AAA. Like,
okay.
So he's got like a knee. He had a knee issue or something like that. But he's basically, I read an article where he's basically been told that like he's not the center fielder that he was in 2020 or something like that. It is an interesting read.
Well, J-Rod's just a monster out there anyway. So
yeah.
It's a tough spot for him.
Competition, just like Juice always says, competition brings out the best in prospects, and I think that's what they want to see as well. But Joey, to your point here, I hate to cut the conversation short, but we are approaching an hour, and we got 2 games to preview here real quick. So we are going to go ahead and move forward. Shitbag Cardinals win 1-0. Fuck Al Pujols. You know the drill. We'll move forward. 2 games tomorrow between these teams. The first one is a makeup game, the rescheduling from April 6th of this year. It is the Cardinals and the Cubs at Wrigley Field, a beautiful 1:20 start on Tuesday, August 23rd. KMOX 1120 AM, 98.7 FM is where you can listen to the game. If you're terribly close to St. Louis, I apologize. Bally Sports Midwest is where you can catch it on television. If you're in the Chicago market, you know the drill. WRTO 1200, 670 The Score, and Marquee Sports Network is where you can catch this one. And it will be the MLB Network game for those that are out of market. Game 1 will feature another guy that I need to just retire and be sent to the sun is Adam Wainwright. He's 9-8 on the season with a 3.11 ERA this year. And we have a debut in the first game as the Cubs made it official today that right-handed pitcher Javier Assad will come up from AAA Iowa and make his MLB debut. Over 23 appearances, 21 of those which were starts this year. Between AA Tennessee and AAA Iowa, he owns a 2.66 ERA and a 5-3 record. In addition, 111 strikeouts and only 35 walks in 108 1/3 innings pitched. He's also only 25. And you can read all of that information and a little bit more in the article over at OnTapSportsNet.com. We'll go ahead and plug that as well. But he is on the bump for game 1 for the Cubbies, and then it was confirmed for game 2, which will be a 7:05 start. All the same suspects in terms of listening and watching, minus the MLB Network game. It will be Jake Woodford, the right-hander on the mound for the Cardinals. He's been really good, 2-0 with a 2.66 ERA and limited amount of work so far for the Redbirds this season. And it will be Adrian Sampson on the bump, who's coming off his first win of the season against Baltimore. 3.51 ERA with that 1-3 record. So, gentlemen, throwing it out there in this one here, thoughts on the doubleheader tomorrow, the preview, what you're looking for, and how the Cubs can maybe come away with a little doubleheader sweep and get up in this series heading into the final 2 games on Wednesday and Thursday. Joey, I'll let you go ahead and take the floor first here.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. We talked about Greg Huss earlier on this podcast, who we hope to get him on here. And, you know, he put out a tweet earlier about him being first in innings pitched and 4th in ERA. Javier Assad, I believe that was across all minor league levels. Like, I could be wrong on that. Could double check that for sure. But nonetheless, man, I'm excited to see this kid pitch tomorrow in person. Going to be there at Wrigley. Going to watch this day game. He's pitching the day game. I think it's gonna be fun to watch. I'm hoping for some missed Cardinals bats. I'm hoping he doesn't come out there with a ton of nerves It's a day game at Wrigley. It's a weekday day game, though, so maybe there won't be that many people in attendance, but it is Cubs-Cardinals. I know the Cubs aren't, high in the standings, though, so we'll see how that plays out. But nonetheless, I will be drinking beers in the stands, having a good time, and I'm just hoping for a W. I can't wait for tomorrow night on the drive back. Hopefully, we're probably going to be, going out doing whatever. On the ride back, I won't be driving. On the ride back, we will be listening to Pat Foley call the game, at least for 6 out of the 9 innings, because I know he's alternating back and forth. I kind of like that, Ron. I don't know. I know you read the article I did on Pat Foley doing this game, but the tree, you're going to do it way more justice than I just did. But he's doing that like the split, three games on the radio, 3 on TV, and then 3 on the radio. So I'll hope to catch some of the innings at least on TV. But nonetheless, man, yeah, let's just kick Cardinals' ass tomorrow. I can't stand this dirty, disgusting franchise, this B-fib, devil's magic. Just I don't understand what happens. The PEDs are running rampant. Just got to put an end to this stuff like Tyler's been mentioning all show. Just get some W's. I don't want to see history at any of the games that I'm at this year when the Cubs play the Cardinals. And I haven't been to a Cubs-Cardinals game in a few years. So this will be fun. So, yeah, those are my final thoughts, man. I'm looking forward to it. What do you guys think?
Tyler, go ahead, man.
I'm predicting a doubleheader sweep tomorrow. I think Assad looks like he's had a pretty solid season so far. I think he's going to come up, tell Adam Wainwright to scoot over. His time's over. His time is now. And then Sampson's been solid most of the year. He's had some shaky starts, but overall he's been pretty good. Both of them will need to go fairly far into the game just because, 5-game series, going to wear at the bullpen. I want to see Nick Magical be the Nick Magical of the Milwaukee series. He showed up in Milwaukee. He's been kind of cold the last 2 games. I'd like to see him bounce back, have a multi-hit game, be a good leadoff. And it sounds like the on-tap guys are going to be there. So, yeah, it's going to be a sweep. You heard it here first.
I like where your head's at, Tyler. I really do. And yes, as you mentioned, I will also be in attendance, at least for the day game, so we can see Javier Assad throw against Adam Wainwright. That should be a good one. It'll be a beautiful 120 start at Wrigley Field. I don't give a shit what day of the week it is. It's always gorgeous. It's going to be perfect. Mid-70s and sunshine. How can you fucking beat it?
It's going to be nice.
I'll be chilling in the left field bleachers. It's a bad day to be a bleacher beer because I am going to enjoy just a couple of them. We're not going to go too crazy, but we're going to have a good time. I would love to see a doubleheader sweep tomorrow. A lot of fun with the second game as well. I'll be back home for that one to watch that one and listen to that one and hopefully hear the great Pat Foley on the radio. And how poetic would it fucking be, Joey, to have a tree tie and a turd, as the great Pat Foley always says. I think that would be pretty cool. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Nonetheless, going to be really cool. Just overall, really cool day. Javier Assad debut. Doubleheader against your greatest rival. Pat Foley's on the air. The vibes are good in the land of the Cubs, and I like where Tyler's head's at. I would love to see a doubleheader. So week tomorrow, take some of that momentum into Wednesday and Thursday's games, because then Thursday, sounds like Joey and I will also be back at the ballpark. This time we'll actually be sitting together. Tomorrow we will not be sitting together, but Thursday it'll be a little different.
We need to meet up tomorrow, though. I'm going to say that right now. Yes. We need to meet up tomorrow. We're not sitting together tomorrow, but we need to meet up tomorrow, at least at some point, and just grab a beer. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We'll make that happen.
I don't want to jump ahead too far, but is there a chance? What is it? Wednesday that we're TBD for Wednesday as far as who's pitching.
We are TBD for Wednesday.
Yeah.
Is there? I know you may have slightly hinted at it. Is there a chance we see Caleb Killian or not? No.
Who knows?
I think.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you my prediction.
I don't want to jump too far, but I
think it's Hayden Wesneski.
Oh, okay.
There's
I don't know.
Some rumblings that it could be. Yeah, there's been some rumors. There's nothing so concrete yet, but some rumors that it could be Wesneski on Wednesday. It's completely TBD. They have confirmed though that it will be Stroh on Thursday, so I'm very excited about that.
You'll be there.
Oh yeah, yo.
First
The
strong
vibes-
start for me too, baby. I'm
The
looking forward
vibes-
to it.
The vibes. Is it? Oh, it is. Yeah, it is your first Stro start, not my first Stro start. I've gotten to see
You're
him
right.
once before this season, but oh yeah, the vibes in left field are going to be disgusting with the Stro show on the mound. I absolutely cannot wait. It's going to be a treat on Thursday, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on that pitching matchup for Wednesday because that could be really intriguing for the Cubs of whoever takes the mound. But gentlemen, before we get out of here, I do want to remind everybody just quickly that Cubs on Tap is the official Cubs podcast of the On Tap Sports Network. You can check out all of our great work over at OnTapSportsNet.com and at OnTapSportsNet on social media. Fly the W picks? Well, we already started the series.
You didn't do one this series.
Well,
sorry, I just like doing them.
We didn't have a show. That's the
you're right.
problem. Because we were busy.
I'm a
That's
jag.
I do like that's a good idea though, as far as the.
All right, well, quickly make it snappy.
And
No
listen.
rambling. No rambling, Joey.
I won't. I will promise. But Juice, we didn't mention this. Juice is on the mend. His arm, he messed up his arm or something. I don't know if he has a cast or a sling or what's going on with that situation.
Yeah.
Juice is
But
still on the
he's
IL.
on the IL, right? So I don't know. Maybe we'll get his pick. Maybe he's in doing rehab stint already.
Well,
we don't know.
I was gonna say, so there is loose confirmation over the weekend that he began his rehab start on Sunday. So and we like to think of the podcasting game. You can quickly, turn it around and keep it moving. There's rumblings that he could be activated as soon as tomorrow, but we're not entirely sure yet. So
he just needs one rehab start anyway. So if he already got one, he's good to go. I think maybe.
Yeah. So we'll see there. So absolutely, yeah. We'll keep everybody informed on the juice on the IL. But he should be back very shortly. Joey, quickly fly the W pick for the rest of this Cardinal series. Who do you got?
I didn't have anybody in mind, so I'm glad that I just threw this out there for no reason, just to ramble. I will go ahead and pick because I will be in attendance, and I hope that he's on in the lineup. I guarantee he won't be now. Nelly V, baby, let Nelly V swim because I will be there. He hit a home run the first time I was there. So did Morel, or not first time, but the last time I was there, so did Morel. I'm gonna go with Nelly V this time.
I like it. Tyler, who's your pick?
I'm going Nick Magical. I think he's going to bounce back tomorrow. I think he's going to be this series. I think he's going to be what Tommy Edman wishes he was this series.
I dig that. I like that a lot. I'm also scouring the roster here, and the more and more I look at it, the more and more I can't avoid it. I can't avoid it. Got to kindly meet this man today. He had the only hit for the Cubbies tonight. I think he keeps it going. I think we're going to see Christopher Morel have a good game.
Don't wash your hand, Ron. Just don't wash your hand. You haven't washed your hand today, have you?
I cannot confirm nor deny that.
Okay, I got you. But just don't wash your hand.
Okay.
The CDC won't let him confirm or deny.
Yeah. That's classified information. We can't speak on that. But
I got you.
No, I'm gonna go with Christopher Morel. I think that's a solid pick for the rest of this series. But again, reminder: everybody knows the drill. Where you can find us on TapSportsNet.com and at OnTapSportsNet on social media. We got Scott Crawford here jumping in with the Fly the W pick. His Nico Everyday All-Star pick. Always a good one. Can never go wrong with a Nico Horner pick. But yeah, you folks know the drill. You can find us at Cubbies on Tap on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Loose on Tap on the Bluebird app. Joey's at Joe Knows Nothing. Teddy Freddy 270 for Tyler down there. Juice on Tap as well. And then you can follow other great contributors, writers, Bulls guy Rob and Brandon M. Kane on Twitter as well. Bulls, Bears, Blackhawks, you know the drill. Bears on Tap guys. Actually, I think just got done recording as well. Regular season shows are right around the corner, folks, so be sure to be tuning into those. You'll probably hear Joey and I's goofy mugs on there at some point this season. And you know the drill. We all got friends that like those dirty Southsiders, but the Sox on Tap boys do a good job covering them as well. OnTapSportsNet.com and OnTapSportsNet on social media. The OnTap Sports Network. Go ahead and check out what's on tap in Chicago sports. Gentlemen, 'twas a blast. Lots to talk about. Perhaps some allegations in the future. Who knows? Could be. We might be sending multiple cities into the sun as well. Cannot confirm nor deny that either. But gentlemen, it is always a pleasure. Win or loss to talk Cubs baseball with you guys. What do you say? Especially against the Cardinals. We get out here the only way I know how.
Fuck the Cardinals. And Albert, just be honest, man. Just be honest is all I'm going to say.
Just tell us.
You know what you're doing. We don't. Just be honest. That's all.
Fuck the Cardinals and let's go Cubbies.